The Meaning of Life, Part 2. If you have not seen Part 1, please review it since we will continue where we left off. We live our lives in an eternal cycle, repeating them over and over again. We also live in one of many different realities for analysis by this higher power we perceive as God. Our perception and understanding of anything that already is in our own existence is limited. Explaining and understanding alternative realities and universes to a low-level creature such as us humans is beyond our scope of comprehension. But that doesn't stop us from having theories, even if we don't understand them. We will primarily discuss the two universes. While there exists many other universes for analysis, they are beyond human understanding, so we will leave it where we can understand it. We will classify these alternative realities as Universe A and Universe B. If Universe A is where we reside, what makes up Universe B? And furthermore, what differentiates Universe B from our universe? Both universes exist to bring understanding to the source's origins. Universe A is the origin of evolution via technological means and humans becoming what they perceive is God of this physical domain. In other words, Universe A is what we consider transhumanism, and humans curing diseases, genetically altering DNA, and achieving immortality by their own hands. This is what's been planned since the very beginning, since before humans even existed. However, this plan had to be accelerated because evolution was proving to be too slow. So an external source implanted in this universe helped achieve the goal of transhumanism at a faster pace than humans could naturally on their own. In other words, there is no stopping the inevitable of technological advancements, as it's what is intended for this universe for analysis by God. Time as we perceive it is not on the same scale as the observer, the higher power we call God. Rather, what seems like 1,000 years to us could simply be a year to God. The purpose of this experiment is for God to understand its origins and how it came to be. This perception of life is multi-layered and repeats eternally. This, of course, is only from the eye of our very limited perspective, and thus, what resides outside this realm is entirely out of our understanding. Universe B consists of a completely different structure that we cannot fathom. What we know of our world is very different from Universe B. For example, our world, comprised of matter and lies along the X, Y, and Z axes, is a cycle of life and death. All living organisms are born, seek food and water to survive and flourish, eating other living organisms, such as animals and plants, to continue the cycle. The endless cycle of life and death that we and all living creatures repeat eternally is a physical cycle that has been laid out before us, that we repeat due to necessity. There is no escaping it, even with technological advancements. It's what this world has been comprised of, after all. However, Universe B does not require that. There is no physical cycle of life and death where animals eat one another to survive, going up the food chain. Rather, it's an entirely different structure. In order to understand the universes, we must understand how they are laid out. These universes are comprised of the physical and non-physical domains. Beyond both of them is the realm of God, which is always observing us via both the physical and non-physical domains in this experience we call life. We cannot ever access the realm of God, nor can we perceive it. It's simply out of our control. We would call this higher power the higher realm, and where we reside, both physical and non-physical domains, is the lower realm. Within each higher realm resides a lower realm. When that lower realm has become aware of its existence and has successfully completed the purpose it was intended for, the experiment sent by the higher realm, it then becomes its own higher realm inside of the previous higher realm to repeat the experience again. It's multi-layered and many realities exist within one another. However, there is a middleman of sorts, or rather, An experiment performed by our Creator, what we consider God, and is our first level God, but actually isn't how we perceive it since it's formed due to illusion of the human mind. This experiment is one that is mutually carried out by the so-called gods of Universe A and Universe B together to experience diversity and understanding of the origins of life. But they too are of this lower realm. But the experiment that is conducted, used to experience diversity in alternate perspectives, has both a physical and non-physical existence because of the gods of both Universe A and Universe B. Multiple experiments are conducted to get a better understanding of diversity. The simplest way to describe this phenomenon is with Russian nesting dolls, the Matryoshka dolls. Multiple dolls exist inside one another, getting smaller and smaller with each doll. Each doll may only be aware of what's immediately inside of it, and maybe a few more layers, but unaware of the ones on the outside of it since it has no knowledge it's inside of something. The reason we have these multiple layers inside one another is due to the cyclical nature of the universe, each universe repeating their existence over and over again. Each recurrence resulting in a close to perfect copy of the previous one, but not exact, where the time factor becomes skewed once more and with the same outcome as the previous. In other words, we repeat our lives eternally and in a predetermined state. Our existence is predetermined. We are nothing more than actors on this stage we call life. Deviations from this, thought of as free will, can be classified as the growth of conscious, becoming aware of this predetermined life that is cyclical in nature. Our very lives repeat over and over again, just as our choices and actions. The inability to face our problems brings more of the same to us until we can resolve them. A perfect example of this happens to every human being: trauma. Trauma comes into your life eternally until you have addressed it and moved on. Otherwise, you repeat this cycle over and over again until your physical body dies. Denial from this system of growth and understanding results in stunted personal development, as well as human consciousness as a whole, contributing to the cyclical nature of our universe. Since ancient times, the Ouroboros has been used to describe the eternal cycle of life, the eternal recurrence. The end of the universe is the start of the universe. The Big Bang is the Big Crunch. In other words, there is no beginning or ending to the universe because of eternal recurrence. The universe repeats eternally until a specific change in human consciousness is made. Just as an individual being unable to address trauma from the past and move on, the universe is waiting for when humans collectively are able to move on past eternal recurrence. Some wills project such strong rejection that they desire immortality. The fear of death has shaken them to the core of their existence that they cannot face the inevitable. Immortality of the physical human body is not feasible. Death will come for us when it's intended to. Furthermore, some humans even welcome death, thinking it'll solve the problems they are facing in this physical domain. However, they too are rejecting the world. Those who reject the world often reject the collective unconscious and may be perceived as what we consider spirits or ghosts. They are the manifestation of consciousness that rejected the world and the collective unconscious, often implanted with the fear of death and moving on. It's only when these wills are at rest can they move on and accept their inevitable fate. Human beings shape this universe by their own will by transforming energy via intention. The intention of many humans in this universe is that of greed and power, as well as rejecting their existence and eventual fate of death. Rejection of others, ourselves, and our actions and physical and mental characteristics that make us appear unique is a sign that human conscious is not ready to continue forward past eternal recurrence. It is only when human conscious, after many recurrences and minute changes with each recurrence, has grown to learn to accept themselves and the world around them, that they can truly move forward. It's only when they have learned those lessons that the universe will survive and the need for eternal recurrence will not be necessary. A question arises: if our lives are predetermined, and we are nothing more than actors on this stage called life, what if we remove ourselves from this stage? What if we forget our lines? Due to human growth and consciousness, it's likely that with each recurring lifetime, we become more aware of our world repeating, such as what some describe as deja vu, psychics, and past lives. With this increasing understanding and growth, we learn and grow more efficiently to proceed forward through the recurrence of time that we are destined to live. With time, we can learn lessons to proceed past this threshold to be released from the bounds of acting out our roles. The experiment we are partaking in, repeating with each cycle, becomes more and more aware of the cyclical nature. With each recurrence of the universe is another nested recurrence based on the previous level's experiment. With each experiment that gets repeated, the changes to human consciousness begins to shift and become more aware and more accepting of their reality and inevitable fate. When this occurs, the experiment of life will not be repeated. However, eternal recurrence will still occur on the entire lower realm where all the experiments lie in the first place, thus repeating the entire cycle of nested, multi-layered recurrences over and over again. To sum it up, what we perceive as free will is nothing more than us acting out our roles that have been given to us. We feel threatened knowing our life has already been planned, but it's what is intended for the sole purpose of analysis by what we consider God in this experience we call life. Since we reside in Universe A, there exist many other universes and alternative realities where life exists for the purpose of analysis. All other universes are out of our level of comprehension since they are completely different from our existence. We repeat our lives eternally, which is known as eternal recurrence. Each recurrence happens due to one of the many ways the universe can end, such as the big crunch, the big rip, the big freeze, or the big bounce. With each recurrence, we live the same lives over and over again, with only slight variations. It's only when human consciousness can accept their inevitable fate of death and the collective unconscious can the recurrence of the universe, the nested experiments, come to an end. But eternal recurrence will still occur on the entire lower realm, thus repeating it all over again. I hope you found this information helpful. I am grateful for your support in sharing this information. Please check out these informative resources.